What if I told you that the secret to wealth was not hiding in some complex investment strategy, expensive course, or exclusive insider knowledge? What if the real key to financial success was something you carry with you every single day, your thoughts? Welcome to our deep dive into one of the most influential personal development books ever written, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This is not just another get-rich-quick scheme wrapped in fancy language. This is the result of over 20 years of intensive research, commissioned by none other than Andrew Carnegie, one of the wealthiest men in American history. Here's what makes this book extraordinary. Hill didn't just theorize about success. Carnegie challenged him to study over 500 of the most successful people of his era. We are talking about titans like Henry Ford, who revolutionized manufacturing, Thomas Edison, who literally lit up the world, and John D. Rockefeller, who built an oil empire. Hill spent decades interviewing these legends, looking for the common threads that separated the wealthy from everyone else. What he discovered was both simple and profound. Success is not about luck, inheritance, or even intelligence. It's about applying specific mental principles that anyone can learn. Hill distilled his findings into 13 fundamental principles that, when applied consistently, can transform not just your bank account, but your entire life. The core message that runs through every page is this: whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Now, before you roll your eyes and think this sounds like wishful thinking, remember, this principle was derived from studying people who actually built massive fortunes from nothing. For our FinSumm listeners today, young professionals, entrepreneurs, and anyone serious about building wealth, this book offers a roadmap. Not just for making money, but for developing the mindset that attracts opportunities, overcomes obstacles, and creates lasting financial success. Over the next half hour, we will break down each of Hill's 13 principles, translate them into practical action steps, and show you how to apply them in today's economy. Whether you are paying off student loans, starting your first business, or looking to level up your career, these principles will give you the mental foundation for financial achievement. So let's dive in and discover how to literally think your way to wealth. Part 1. The power of thought and desire. Let's start with what Hill considers the absolute foundation of all achievement: desire. But we are not talking about casual wanting here. Hill makes a crucial distinction between desire and mere hoping or wishing. Think about it this way: you might hope to win the lottery, but you desire to become financially independent. Hope is passive. It waits for something to happen. Desire is active, it creates the conditions for success to occur. Hill defines desire as the starting point of all achievement. It's not enough to have a vague wish like, I want to be rich. That's like saying, I want to go somewhere, without naming your destination. How would you plan the trip? What route would you take? How would you know when you are arrived? Here's Hill's formula for transforming desire into reality, and I want you to think about your own financial goals as I explain this. First, you must define exactly how much money you want. Not a lot, or enough to be comfortable. Get specific. Is it $100,000 in savings? $1 million net worth? The ability to generate $10,000 per month in passive income? Write down the exact number. Second, determine precisely what you are willing to give in return for this money. The universe operates on exchange. You cannot get something for nothing. Are you willing to develop new skills? Start a business? Work extra hours for 3 years? Provide exceptional value to others? Define your contribution. Third, establish a definite date when you intend to achieve this goal. Without a deadline, a goal becomes a dream. If you want $100,000 in savings, will you achieve it in 2 years? 5 years? Set the date. Fourth, create a definite plan for carrying out your desire. This doesn't have to be perfect, you will adjust it as you go. But you need a starting point, a clear path from where you are to where you want to be. Finally, write out a clear, concise statement covering these 4 points, and read it aloud twice daily, once when you wake up and once before bed. This is not just positive thinking, it's programming your subconscious mind to recognize and act on opportunities. Hill illustrates this with the story of Edwin C. Barnes, who had an overwhelming desire to become Thomas Edison's business partner. Barnes had no money, no connections, and no apparent qualifications. But he had crystallized his desire into a definite plan. Barnes didn't apply for a job, he presented himself as a future partner. When Edison's staff saw this poorly dressed young man, they probably thought he was delusional. But Edison recognized something in Barnes's burning desire, and gave him a chance. Barnes started in a low-level position, but he never lost sight of his definite purpose. He studied Edison's business, learned every aspect of the operation, and waited for his opportunity. When Edison invented the Edison dictating machine, the sales team was skeptical about its potential. Barnes saw the opportunity and volunteered to sell it. His desire had sharpened his perception. He knew this was his moment. Barnes's success with the dictating machine made him wealthy, and achieved his goal of becoming Edison's partner. The lesson here is powerful. When you combine burning desire with a clear plan and unwavering focus, you develop what Hill calls definiteness of purpose. This creates a kind of magnetic attraction that draws opportunities to you. For your financial goals, this means getting laser-focused. Instead of saying, "I want to make more money," say, "I will increase my income by $30,000 within 18 months by developing expertise in digital marketing and securing 3 new clients." Feel the difference? One is wishful thinking, the other is a definite purpose that your mind can work with. Part 2, Faith, Visualizing and Believing in Your Success. Now we move to what Hill calls the head chemist of the mind, faith. But we are not talking about blind faith or religious belief here. Hill defines faith as a state of mind which may be induced or created by affirmation or repeated instructions to the subconscious mind. In simple terms, faith is trained belief. It's the absolute confidence that your goals are not just possible, but inevitable. Here's the key insight: you must believe in your success before you see evidence of it. This goes against how most people think. We want proof first, then we will believe. But Hill's research showed that successful people reverse this process. Think about every entrepreneur who ever started a business. They had to believe their idea would work before they had customers, revenue, or proof of concept. They had to have faith in their ability to solve problems they had not encountered yet. Faith works because it changes your behavior. When you truly believe you'll achieve your financial goals, you act differently. You make decisions like someone who's destined for success. You invest in your education, take calculated risks, and persist through setbacks because you know they are temporary. Hill explains that faith is built through autosuggestion, repeatedly feeding your subconscious mind with positive, definite statements about your goals. This isn't just reciting affirmations mindlessly. It's about creating genuine belief through repetition and emotional intensity. Here's how to build financial faith. Start each day by reading your written goals aloud with conviction. Don't just recite the words, feel them. Visualize yourself achieving these goals. See yourself checking your bank balance and feeling proud of your progress. Imagine the security and freedom that financial success will bring. But here's what most people miss: faith must be supported by action. You can't just think your way to wealth, you have to believe your way into taking massive action. Faith without works is dead, as the saying goes. When you combine burning desire with unshakable faith, you create what Hill calls a state of mind conducive to success. Your subconscious mind begins working 24/7 to find ways to achieve your goals. You notice opportunities that others miss. You attract people who can help you. You develop the persistence to overcome obstacles that stop others. Remember, you must believe before you receive. This is the foundation that makes everything else possible. Part 3, Autosuggestion, Training the Subconscious Mind. Your subconscious mind is like a fertile garden. It will grow whatever seeds you plant, whether they are positive or negative. Autosuggestion is how you deliberately plant the right seeds. Hill discovered that successful people consistently feed their minds with thoughts of abundance, success, and achievement. They don't leave their mental diet to chance. They carefully control what goes into their subconscious. Just like an athlete controls their physical diet, here's how autosuggestion works. Your subconscious mind accepts whatever you repeatedly tell it with emotion and conviction. It cannot distinguish between what's real and what's vividly imagined. This is why negative self-talk is so destructive. You are literally programming yourself for failure. The key to effective autosuggestion is emotion. Dry, mechanical repetition will not work. You need to feel the words as you speak them. When you say, "I am becoming financially independent," you need to generate the emotions you will feel when it's true: excitement, gratitude, confidence, pride. Hill recommends a specific practice: twice daily, read your written financial goals, aloud with emotional intensity. Don't just read the words, see yourself achieving these goals. Feel the satisfaction of reaching your target income. Experience the security of having your emergency fund fully funded. Imagine the freedom of being debt-free. Here's a practical example. Instead of saying, "I want to make $100,000, try this: I am attracting multiple income streams that easily and consistently generate $100,000 annually. I provide exceptional value to others, and money flows to me in increasing quantities from multiple sources." Notice the difference? The second statement is written as if it's already happening. Your subconscious mind responds better to present tense, positive statements. But here's the crucial part: you must back up your autosuggestion with action. As you are programming your mind for success, you must also be taking steps toward your goals. Study your field, network with successful people, improve your skills, and consistently execute your plan. The magic happens when your conscious actions align with your subconscious programming. You begin to automatically make decisions that support your financial goals. You naturally spot opportunities. You develop the habits and mindset of a wealthy person before you become wealthy. Speak it, feel it, live it, until it becomes your reality. Part 4. Specialized knowledge. Here's a truth that might sting a little: general knowledge is practically worthless when it comes to building wealth. You might know a little about a lot of things, but that will not make you rich. Hill's research showed that wealth comes from specialized knowledge, deep expertise in a specific, valuable area. Think about it this way: a general practitioner doctor earns a good living, but a heart surgeon earns multiples more. A general marketing coordinator might make $50,000, but a conversion optimization specialist might earn $150,000. The difference is not intelligence, it's specialization. Hill makes an important distinction: knowledge itself is not power. Knowledge only becomes power when it's organized into definite plans and expressed through action. You can read every finance book ever written, but if you don't apply what you learn, you will remain broke. So what kind of specialized knowledge should you pursue? It depends on your goals and interests, but here are some principles. First, choose knowledge that's directly connected to your financial goals. If you want to start a business, become an expert in your industry. If you want to invest, master one or two investment strategies, rather than dabbling in everything. If you want to advance your career, develop skills that your industry desperately needs. Second, focus on profitable knowledge. Not all knowledge is created equal. Learning to speak French might be personally fulfilling, but learning to speak data analysis or digital marketing will probably generate more income. Always ask yourself, will this knowledge help me achieve my financial goals? Third, commit to lifelong learning, but be strategic about it. The half-life of knowledge is shrinking rapidly. What you learned in college might be outdated in 5 years. Successful people never stop learning, but they are selective about what they learn. Hill emphasizes the importance of learning from those who have already achieved what you want. This might mean hiring a mentor, joining masterminds, attending conferences, or simply studying the careers of people in your field who are where you want to be. Here's a practical action step: identify the 3 most important skills in your field that directly correlate with higher income. Maybe it's sales, leadership, and data analysis. Then create a learning plan to master these skills over the next 12 to 18 months. Don't try to learn everything at once. Depth beats breadth every time. Remember, in today's economy, your ability to acquire and apply specialized knowledge quickly might be your greatest asset. Be a lifelong learner, but focus on profitable knowledge that moves you closer to your financial goals. Part 5. Imagination, the workshop of the mind. Every fortune began as an idea in someone's imagination. Before Walt Disney built an empire, he imagined a mouse. Before Sarah Blakely became a billionaire, she imagined a better undergarment. Before Jeff Bezos created Amazon, he imagined selling books online. Hill identifies 2 types of imagination that successful people use. Synthetic imagination takes existing ideas, concepts, or plans and combines them in new ways. Most successful businesses use synthetic imagination. Uber combined existing elements, cars, drivers, mobile phones, and GPS, in a new way. They didn't invent any of these things, they just arranged them differently. Creative imagination creates entirely new ideas, concepts, or plans. This is rarer but equally powerful. When Henry Ford imagined an assembly line for car production, he was using creative imagination. Nobody had done it before. The key insight is this: your imagination is where your financial future is born. If you can't imagine yourself wealthy, you'll never become wealthy. If you can't picture your ideal lifestyle, you'll never create it. Here's how to harness your imagination for financial success. First, spend time daily, visualizing your financial goals in vivid detail. Don't just think about having money, imagine what your life looks like when you achieve your goals. Where do you live? What does your daily routine look like? How do you feel when you check your bank balance? Second, use your imagination to solve problems and create opportunities. When you face a financial challenge, don't immediately think, "I can't afford it." Instead, ask, "How can I afford it?" Or "How can I earn the money I need?" Your imagination will start generating solutions. Third, imagine new ways to create value. Every dollar you earn represents value you have provided to someone else. Use your imagination to find new ways to solve problems, meet needs, or make people's lives better. The bigger the problem you solve, the more money you can make. Hill tells the story of a man who made a fortune selling an idea for a new type of automobile. He didn't manufacture cars, or even know much about engineering. But he used his imagination to visualize a solution to a common problem, and he sold that idea to a manufacturer. Your imagination is free, unlimited, and available 24/7. It's the workshop where your financial future is designed and built. The question isn't whether you have imagination, everyone does. The question is whether you are using it to create wealth or to worry about scarcity. See it first in your mind, before you hold it in your hand. This is the creative process that every successful person has mastered. Part 6, Organized Planning. Here's where the rubber meets the road. You can have all the desire, faith, and imagination in the world. But without organized planning, you are just a dreamer. Hill observed that successful people are distinguished by their ability to create and execute definite plans. But here's what's interesting: Hill found that successful people rarely succeed with their first plan. In fact, most plans fail. The difference is that successful people immediately create new plans when their first ones don't work. They are willing to change their plans, but they never change their goals. Think of planning like GPS navigation. When you enter your destination, the GPS calculates the best route. But if you hit traffic or take a wrong turn, it doesn't change your destination, it recalculates the route. Your financial planning should work the same way. Here are the key elements of organized planning for financial success. First, create a detailed, written plan with specific steps and deadlines. Vague plans produce vague results. Instead of, "I want to save more money," try, "I will save $500 per month for the next 24 months, by reducing my dining out budget and increasing my income through freelancing." Second, form what Hill calls a mastermind group, a small group of people who meet regularly to support each other's goals. This isn't just about networking, it's about surrounding yourself with people who think bigger than you do and who will hold you accountable to your plans. Your mastermind might include a mentor who's already achieved what you want, a peer who's working towards similar goals, and someone with complementary skills. Meet monthly to review progress, solve problems, and adjust plans as needed. Third, take immediate action on your plan, even if it's imperfect. Hill observed that successful people make decisions quickly and act immediately. They understand that an imperfect plan executed is better than a perfect plan that never gets started. Fourth, be prepared to fail fast and adjust quickly. Not every strategy will work, especially in today's rapidly changing economy. The key is to test your assumptions quickly and cheaply, then double down on what works and abandon what doesn't. Here's a practical framework. Break your big financial goal into quarterly milestones, then into monthly targets, then into weekly actions. For example, if your goal is to increase your income by $50,000 in 2 years, That's about $2,100 per month or $500 per week. What specific actions will you take this week to generate an additional $500? Remember, planning isn't a one-time activity, it's an ongoing process. Successful people plan their work and work their plan, but they are always ready to adjust. When circumstances change, bold action turns vision into reality. Don't wait for the perfect plan, start with a good plan, and improve it as you go. Part 7. Decision, the mastery of procrastination. Here's one of Hill's most powerful observations. People who succeed in accumulating wealth make decisions quickly and change them slowly. People who fail to accumulate wealth make decisions slowly and change them quickly. Think about someone you know who's always thinking about starting a business, changing careers, or making an investment. They analyze everything to death, seek endless opinions, and never quite pull the trigger. Meanwhile, opportunities pass them by. Contrast this with successful entrepreneurs who make fast decisions with limited information, then adjust as they learn more. They understand that, in a rapidly changing world, the cost of delay often exceeds the risk of being wrong. Hill identified indecision as one of the major causes of failure. Why? Because indecision breeds doubt and fear, two emotions that are absolutely toxic to financial success. When you can't make decisions, you lose confidence in yourself. You start second-guessing every choice, you become paralyzed by analysis. But here's the key insight: you don't need complete information to make good decisions. You need enough information to act, plus the confidence to adjust as you learn more. This is especially relevant in today's economy, where change happens faster than ever. The traditional approach of planning everything perfectly before acting is often a recipe for failure. By the time you have all the information you think you need, the opportunity has disappeared. So how do you develop better decision-making skills for financial success? First, set decision deadlines. When facing a financial choice, give yourself a specific time frame to gather information and make the decision. Maybe it's 1 week for investment decisions under $10,000, or 30 days for major career changes. Stick to your deadline. Second, use the 80-20 rule. You can usually make a good decision with 80% of the available information. The remaining 20% will take 80% of your time to gather, and it probably won't change your decision anyway. Third, trust your informed intuition. After you have done your research and analysis, pay attention to your gut feeling. Hill found that successful people develop what he calls accurate thinking, the ability to distinguish between wishful thinking and sound judgment. Fourth, take control of your information sources. Hill warned about the danger of seeking opinions from everyone around you. Most people are not qualified to give financial advice, and their fears and limitations will influence their opinions. Be selective about whose input you seek. Finally, remember that not making a decision is still a decision. It's deciding to let circumstances decide for you. In the financial world, this usually means missing opportunities and staying where you are. Decide, act, adjust later. This is the rhythm of successful people. Part 8. Persistence, sustained effort over time. If there's one quality that separates those who achieve financial success from those who don't, it's persistence. Hill observed that most people give up at the first sign of difficulty, while successful people view obstacles as temporary challenges to overcome. Here's a story that perfectly illustrates this principle. During the California gold rush, a man named R.U. Darby and his uncle went west to dig for gold. After weeks of labor, they struck ore. They covered up their mine and went back east to raise money for equipment. They returned and mined successfully for a while, but then the vein of gold disappeared. They kept drilling, but found nothing. Finally, they gave up and sold their equipment to a junk dealer for a few $100s. That junk dealer hired a mining engineer who told him the previous owners had quit just 3 feet from one of the richest veins of golden Colorado history. The junk dealer made millions from that mine. This story illustrates what Hill calls the most common cause of failure, the habit of quitting when overcome by temporary defeat. Most people give up just before they would have succeeded if they had persisted a little longer. In today's world, this plays out constantly. Someone starts a business, and when they don't see immediate results, they quit. Someone begins investing, and when the market drops, they panic and sell. Someone starts learning a new skill, and when it gets difficult, they move on to something easier. But persistence isn't just about pushing through blindly. Hill identified 4 key elements of successful persistence. First, definiteness of purpose, knowing exactly what you want. It's easier to persist when you have a clear, compelling reason to continue. Second, desire, the fuel that powers persistence. When your desire for financial success is strong enough, temporary setbacks become minor inconveniences rather than reasons to quit. Third, self-reliance, confidence in your ability to carry out your plans. This comes from preparation, knowledge, and past successes, even small ones. Fourth, definiteness of plans, knowing exactly what steps you will take. Vague plans make it easy to quit when things get tough. Specific plans create momentum and make it easier to persist. Here's how to develop financial persistence. Start with small challenges and build your persistence muscle. If you want to save $10,000, start by successfully saving $1,000. Each small victory builds confidence for bigger challenges. Expect obstacles and plan for them. When you know setbacks are coming, they don't derail you. They are just part of the process. Surround yourself with people who support your goals. Hill found that persistent people associate with others who encourage them, rather than those who focus on difficulties. Remember that most people quit too soon. When you face a major obstacle, remind yourself that you might be just 3 feet from gold. The persistence to continue when others quit is often what separates success from failure. Persistence isn't just a nice quality to have, it's a requirement for financial success. Part 9. Power of the Mastermind. Here's a fundamental truth about wealth building: no one becomes successful alone. Hill discovered that every successful person he studied was part of what he called a mastermind group. 2 or more people working together, in harmony toward a common goal. The mastermind principle is based on a simple but powerful idea: when minds work together in harmony, they create a third mind that's more powerful than any individual mind working alone. It's like the difference between a single candle and multiple candles. Each additional flame doesn't just add light, it multiplies it. Think about the most successful companies in the world. Apple had Jobs, Wozniak, and later, Tim Cook. Microsoft had Gates and Allen. Google had Page and Brin. Facebook had Zuckerberg and his co-founders. None of these fortunes were built by lone wolves, they were created by masterminds. But masterminds are not just for tech billionaires. They work at every level of financial success. Here's why. First, mastermind groups multiply your knowledge and experience. When you are facing a financial challenge, instead of relying only on your own experience, you can tap into the collective wisdom of your group. Someone else has probably faced a similar challenge and can share what worked. Second, masterminds provide accountability. It's easy to let yourself off the hook when you are working alone. It's much harder to explain to your mastermind group why you didn't follow through on your commitments. Third, masterminds expand your network exponentially. Each member of your mastermind brings their own network of contacts, creating opportunities that wouldn't exist otherwise. Fourth, masterminds provide emotional support during difficult times. The journey to financial success is full of ups and downs. Having people who believe in your goals and encourage you during tough times is invaluable. So, how do you create an effective mastermind for financial success? Choose your members carefully. You want people who are either already where you want to be, or are seriously committed to getting there. Avoid negative people, gossips, or those who are not willing to contribute to the group's success. Keep the group small, typically 3 to 6 people. Larger groups become unwieldy and less intimate. Meet regularly, monthly at minimum. Weekly is better. Consistency is key to building trust and momentum. Have a clear structure for your meetings. Each person should report on their progress, challenges, and next steps. The group should offer advice, resources, and accountability. Be willing to give as much as you receive. A mastermind only works when everyone contributes. Share your knowledge, contacts, and support generously. In today's connected world, your mastermind doesn't have to be local. You can create powerful mastermind relationships online with people around the world who share your goals and values. Remember, your network is your net worth. But more than that, your mastermind is your growth engine. It's the compound interest of human relationships applied to your financial goals. Part 10. The mystery of sex transmutation. This might be Hill's most misunderstood principle, so let's clarify what he actually meant. Hill isn't talking about suppressing sexuality or anything weird. He's talking about channeling powerful emotional energy toward achievement. Hill observed that people with high levels of personal magnetism and drive often had strong sexual energy, but he noticed something interesting. The most successful people learned to redirect this energy into creative and productive pursuits during their most ambitious periods. Think of it this way: sexual energy is life force energy. It's creative, powerful, and motivating. Hill found that successful people often channeled this energy into their businesses, investments, and creative projects, especially during intense periods of goal achievement. This principle is really about energy management. We all have limited emotional and creative energy each day. Successful people become very intentional about how they use this energy. They focus it on their most important goals, rather than dissipating it in random directions. For financial success, this means being strategic about where you direct your passion and energy, instead of scattering your attention across multiple projects, relationships, and distractions. You concentrate your life force on your most important financial goals. This doesn't mean becoming a hermit or avoiding relationships. It means being intentional about when and how you channel your most powerful creative energy. Many successful entrepreneurs report their most productive periods coincided with times when they were completely focused on their business goals. The practical lesson is simple: during your most important financial building periods, be selective about how you use your energy. Channel your passion into purpose, not just pleasure. Part 11. The subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is like a massive computer that never sleeps. It processes information, makes connections, and influences your behavior 24 hours a day. The question isn't whether your subconscious is working, it's what you are programming it to work on. Hill discovered that successful people consciously program their subconscious minds with thoughts, images, and emotions aligned with their goals. They don't leave their mental programming to chance. Here's how it works. Your subconscious mind accepts whatever you feed it, most consistently and emotionally. If you constantly worry about money, think about scarcity, and focus on what you lack, your subconscious will work to make those fears reality. It will cause you to notice problems more than opportunities, make decisions based on fear rather than faith, and act in ways that confirm your limiting beliefs. But if you consistently feed your subconscious mind with thoughts of abundance, success, and achievement, it will work to make those visions reality. It will help you notice opportunities, make confident decisions, and take actions aligned with your goals. The key is emotional intensity. Your subconscious responds more strongly to thoughts and images that are accompanied by strong emotions. This is why visualization works better when you really feel the emotions of achieving your goals. Hill identified 7 positive emotions that successful people use to influence their subconscious: desire, faith, love, sex, enthusiasm, romance, and hope. He also identified 7 negative emotions to avoid: fear, jealousy, hatred, revenge, greed, superstition, and anger. Here's a practical exercise. Before you go to sleep each night, spend 5 minutes visualizing your financial goals as if they have already been achieved. Feel the emotions of success, gratitude, pride, excitement, peace. Your subconscious mind is most receptive during the transition between waking and sleeping. Also, pay attention to your dominant thoughts throughout the day. Are you thinking more about what you want or what you are trying to avoid? Are you focused on opportunities or obstacles? Your subconscious is always listening and always working to make your dominant thoughts reality. Guard your mental environment like you guard your bank account. What you allow into your mind will determine what comes out in your life. Part 12. The brain, broadcasting and receiving thoughts. Hill's research led him to a fascinating conclusion. The human brain works like a radio transmitter and receiver. It broadcasts thoughts, especially emotionally charged ones, and receives thoughts from others. Now, this might sound mystical, but consider this. We have all experienced walking into a room and immediately sensing tension, or meeting someone and instantly feeling comfortable with them. We pick up on subtle cues. and energy that we can't always explain logically. Hill found that successful people become skilled at both broadcasting and receiving the right kind of mental energy. They surround themselves with positive, success-minded people, and they avoid negative influences. This has practical implications for your financial success. The people you spend time with are constantly broadcasting their thoughts, beliefs, and attitudes about money. If you surround yourself with people who complain about being broke, fear taking risks, and have limiting beliefs about money, you will unconsciously absorb these attitudes. But if you surround yourself with people who think abundantly, take calculated risks, and believe in financial success, you will absorb these attitudes instead. This is why choosing your environment is so crucial. Your mastermind group, the books you read, the podcasts you listen to, the social media you consume, all of these are broadcasting messages into your subconscious mind. Be intentional about your mental diet. Just as you would not eat junk food every day and expect to be physically healthy, you can't consume mental junk and expect to be financially successful. You attract what you repeatedly think about, especially when those thoughts are emotionally charged. Make sure you are broadcasting and receiving thoughts that align with your financial goals. Part 13, The Sixth Sense, the Door to Infinite Intelligence. Hill called the sixth sense the door to the temple of wisdom. It's that gut feeling, that inner knowing, that intuitive guidance, that seems to come from beyond logical thinking. But here's what's important to understand. Hill found that the sixth sense only develops after you have mastered the other 12 principles. It's not a shortcut to success, it's the result of disciplined mental development. Think of successful entrepreneurs who seem to have an uncanny ability to spot opportunities or make decisions that others miss. They are not just lucky, they have developed their intuitive abilities through years of focused practice. The sixth sense works because when you have trained your conscious and subconscious minds to focus on your goals, you become incredibly sensitive to anything related to those goals. You notice opportunities that others miss because your mind is tuned to see them. It's like when you are thinking about buying a certain car, and suddenly you see that car everywhere. The cars were always there, you just were not tuned to notice them before. For financial success, developing your sixth sense means trusting your informed intuition. After you have done your research, analyzed the data, and consulted with your advisors, pay attention to that inner voice that says, "This feels right," or "Something's not quite right here." Many successful investors talk about having a feel for the market that goes beyond technical analysis. Many successful entrepreneurs describe knowing when to pivot their business strategy based on gut instinct rather than just data. But remember, the sixth sense is intuition plus preparation. You can't just wing it and hope for the best. You have to do the work, master the fundamentals, and then trust the intuitive guidance that emerges from that solid foundation. Success is both science and intuition. Master the science first, then trust the intuition that develops naturally. Bonus: the 6 ghosts of fear. Hill identified 6 basic fears that destroy people's chances for success. He called them ghosts because they are largely imaginary, but they have very real effects on our behavior and results. Let's go through each one and see how they specifically sabotage financial success. Fear of poverty is the most destructive fear when it comes to building wealth. People who fear poverty make decisions based on scarcity rather than abundance. They hoard money instead of investing it. They avoid taking calculated risks that could multiply their wealth. They stay in safe, low-paying jobs rather than pursuing higher income opportunities. Fear of criticism stops people from starting businesses, making investments, or pursuing ambitious goals because they are worried about what others will think if they fail. This fear keeps people playing small and conforming to others' expectations rather than pursuing their own financial dreams. Fear of ill health causes people to worry excessively about medical expenses and often prevents them from taking entrepreneurial risks. They might stay in jobs they hate just for health insurance, or avoid investing because they are worried about needing money for medical emergencies. Fear of loss of love makes people financially dependent on others. They might stay in relationships that limit their earning potential or make financial decisions to please others, rather than building their own wealth. This fear often keeps people from becoming financially independent, because independence might threaten their relationships. Fear of old age paralyzes people when it comes to long-term financial planning. Instead of taking action to build wealth for their future, they worry about being poor and helpless in old age. This worry often becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because they don't take the actions necessary to secure their financial future. Fear of death might seem unrelated to money, but Hill found that people who have not made peace with their mortality often make poor financial decisions. They might spend recklessly because you can't take it with you, or hoard money because they can't bear the thought of leaving their family financially insecure. The antidote to these fears is what Hill calls self-confidence and definiteness of purpose. When you have clear, compelling goals and the confidence to achieve them, these fears lose their power over you. Here's how to overcome these fears. First, recognize that most fears are based on imaginary problems, not real ones. The word fear is often just false evidence appearing real. Second, focus on what you want rather than what you are afraid of. Your mind can't hold positive and negative thoughts simultaneously. When you are focused on your goals, there's no room for destructive fears. Third, take action despite your fears. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's action in the presence of fear. Every time you act despite being afraid, you build confidence and reduce fear's power over you. Remember, fear paralyzes potential, but faith activates it. Choose faith over fear, and watch your financial future transform. Conclusion: we have covered a lot of ground today, but here's what I want you to remember. Think and Grow Rich isn't just about money. It's about developing the mental habits and emotional patterns that create success in every area of life. Hill's research revealed that wealth is an inside-out process. It starts with your thoughts, beliefs, and mental habits. Everything else, your actions, opportunities, and results, flows from your inner mental environment. The 13 principles we have discussed are not separate techniques to try one at a time. They work together as a complete system. Desire provides the fuel, faith provides the conviction, autosuggestion programs your subconscious, specialized knowledge gives you tools, imagination creates opportunities, organized planning provides direction, decision creates momentum. Persistence overcomes obstacles, Mastermind multiplies your power, sex transmutation focuses your energy, the subconscious mind works behind the scenes, the brain connects you with others, and the sixth sense guides your decisions. But here's the key: none of this works unless you apply it consistently. Hill's principles are not magic. They are based on how successful people actually think and behave. They require daily practice and persistent application. So here's my challenge to you: don't just listen to this summary and move on. Pick one principle that resonates most strongly with you, and commit to practicing it for the next 30 days. Maybe it's writing down your definite financial goals and reading them twice daily. Maybe it's forming a mastermind group with like-minded people. Maybe it's developing specialized knowledge in your field. Start with one principle, master it, then add the next one. Remember, Hill studied over 500 successful people over 20 years to discover these principles. They are not theories, they are proven practices that have created more millionaires than any other single source. The beautiful thing about Hill's work is that it's timeless. The fundamental principles of success have not changed, even though the methods of applying them have evolved. Whether you are building wealth through traditional business, digital entrepreneurship, investing, or any other vehicle, these mental principles still apply. Your financial future isn't determined by your current circumstances, your education, your background, or your connections. It's determined by your thoughts, beliefs, and the consistent application of proven success principles. As Hill himself said, you are the master of your destiny. You can influence, direct, and control your own environment. You can make your life what you want it to be. The question isn't whether these principles work. Hill's research and millions of successful people have proven they do. The question is whether you will apply them consistently, enough to transform your financial future. Your thoughts become your reality. Your beliefs become your experience. Your mental habits become your destiny. Think and grow rich. The choice is yours. Thank you for joining me for this deep dive into Napoleon Hill's timeless classic. Remember, knowledge without action is worthless, but knowledge with consistent action is the foundation of all achievement. Until next time, keep thinking big and taking action on your financial goals.